All right, it is Reaction Monday. It is another victory edition of Reaction Monday presented by TDECU, the greatness that is TDECU. Shout out to TDECU, everything they do. You can get the Texans debit card. You can get 15% off on the team shop. 15% anything. Show your Texans pride, score savings while doing it. Visit TDECU.org/Texans. Get your card today. Membership required, insured by NCUA.
Yeah, man. Victory Monday sure does feel a lot better than 3 weeks of, damn, they were close. What's going on with the offense? It's just so much better when CJ Stroud goes out there and has an 85% completion percentage and they run the football well. The defense does their job. Man, Victory Monday makes me feel good. Everything, the air's crisper, a little bit cooler. It's great. Everything's going better. Everything's going better after Victory Monday.
Let's start. Let's address the yeah, but. So where do we balance a historic performance and the yeah, but? Let's just start right off the top and address the obvious pushback. The yeah, but this Ravens team was depleted. They weren't very good, quite frankly. On top of the Titans, like where do we? Let's address the yeah, but right off the top.
Well, for me, I feel like it's really important for not only this version of the Houston Texans, but the Houston Texans under DeMeco Ryans to handle their business when they're supposed to handle their business. Because there have been a few times in the DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud era where they're supposed to handle their business and they really didn't go about handling their business, and they had some pretty embarrassing performances. I think back to 2023, coming out of the bye week, and they go to Carolina and they just throw up all over themselves. They didn't handle their business in that matchup. 2023 against the Jets, they just were awful in that game. They didn't handle their business. That was not a Jets team that should have dominated them that day. 2024, there's a couple of examples. The Jets game again, that is not a team that should have beat them like that. Even though it was a short week and they'd lost Stephon Diggs, they shouldn't have lost to a Jets team that was ready to quit on the season, frankly. And they didn't handle their business there. And then the Titans last year at home, they were supposed to handle their business. They didn't handle their business. So when they're given opportunities to take care of their business and they do it, especially after that really slow start, that should be commended. Nobody thinks they beat a Super Bowl champion. Nobody thinks they beat one of the best teams in the AFC like what the Ravens have been the past couple of seasons. We all understand that. But the Texans didn't get in the Texans' way and mess up like they have a couple of times, not only in the past couple of years, but certainly as bad as they looked those first 3 weeks where they were the problem as much as their opponent was the problem. I feel like it's a good job to take care of their business like they did.
Yeah, I think there is a balance. They are going to have to prove that they can beat good teams. Like that's a given, and they're going to be tested the first 4 weeks that they get back from the bye. They're going to play pretty good teams. So they're going to, obviously, if they want to reach their goals, they're going to have to prove that. But let's just be honest. Even the experts in Vegas did not think that the Texans were going to run away with this game. It was basically a coin toss game, despite what happened and what the Ravens were lacking in this game. So I don't think you can minimize the most points John Harbaugh has ever allowed in a home game as the Ravens coach. I don't think you can minimize 30-plus point victories. Does that mean it's the end-all be-all? No, but they did something that even the experts didn't think they'd do. I don't think a lot of fans envisioned that coming, and they showed a little bit of a pulse. And they also appear to be kind of expanding their options on offense, which I think is really good. Like there's guys scoring their first career touchdowns. You had 2 more of those. That's happened 3 times in the last 2 weeks. You had a new wrinkle. You have British Brooks at fullback, which told you that was going to happen. They're just kind of expanding the way that they play offense. And the other thing is, we talked about this yesterday. The other thing is that I don't even think the defense has played as good as they can. And it's one of the best defenses in the league. So that we've talked about this being the superpower. I think the defense is elite. I think it's going to be even better. And I think that's the encouraging thing. But I do think, okay, yes, they beat the Ravens. They didn't beat them by 2 points. Like they were supposed to beat them by 1.5. And quite frankly, what Las Vegas told you yesterday, and I think it was based on what we actually saw, was they didn't think this Texans team was worth a shit, no matter who they were going against with the Baltimore Ravens. I can promise you though, because Las Vegas knows how to adjust. If they ran this back next week, the line would be a little bit different. And I think if you look at what the Texans are going to be thought of, I think it's going to be different. And I think the other element of it is that, look, there's been different ways of describing it. There's been different ways of acknowledging it. There's been different ways that it's been presented. But CJ Stroud, for some reason, the confidence is very, very important. Like the confidence, the vibe, all that, it's very, very important. I think sometimes it works negatively against you because I think when things aren't that bad, either because he's too hard on himself, either because he just doesn't handle failures as well as maybe you would want the quarterback to handle how you want him to handle himself. I think sometimes he gets too low when he probably shouldn't be as low. And I think perhaps with what we saw yesterday and what we've seen from him, maybe there's like an opposite effect where you give him a week to feel okay about himself. He plays about as good as you could possibly expect him to play yesterday. And maybe that kind of has an impact of the opposite effect where, yeah, they might have played some suspect defenses the last 2 weeks, but it might be something in just what CJ Stroud needed to boost his confidence, which, as we know, and as we've witnessed the last 2 years, can kind of be like a roller coaster ride.
I mean, the confidence boost, not only for CJ Stroud, but the entire offense, is one of the most notable things about the past 2 weeks. I understand it's two really bad defensive opponents. They lacked confidence, cohesion, and the ability to put things together in the first 3 weeks. And I get that it seems like that's three pretty decent defenses that they went against in those first 3 weeks. But if those first 3 weeks Houston Texans had played the Titans, it wouldn't have looked like it did last week. And if they had played that Ravens team from those first 3 weeks, if they'd played that Ravens team yesterday, it wouldn't have looked like it did yesterday. I mean, the game was not in doubt by the middle of the second quarter. You knew the Ravens weren't doing anything on offense because the defense was good. And you knew the Texans were going to keep putting it on the Ravens because they had a groove going on offense, and CJ Stroud was in the zone in this one. So as much as the two opponents are unimpressive in the victories, a lot of this was about, can the Texans stay out of the Texans' way, and can the Texans get going on offense? And they did for 2 straight weeks.
Yeah, and that's really what they needed. Like, we laid it out after the 0-3 start. They needed to go 5-5. Now they are sitting at 2-3. There's no undefeated teams in the league right now. Like, if we're going to start looking at playoff standings, just talking about what the climb is, it's one game. There's like the teams in front of you have one more win than you do, and you're hopefully playing your best ball. Here's the revelation I had yesterday with the performance. And shout out to everyone for joining us here on Reaction Monday, presented by TDECU. Landry Locker, Cody Stoots here. Shout out to TDECU, tdecu.org/Texans to get that fresh new debit card just in time for the season to pick back up. So here's what I thought about. So I've kind of rolled my eyes a little bit at the mention of the 2018 season after the Texans started 0-3, because I just think it's kind of ironic to be pointing to Bill O'Brien, and it's kind of ironic to be pointing to that team with a different playoff format. And we knew that team had a limited ceiling, and we've constantly pointed to that team and said, well, you know, if they can be the second team to do it. I actually think it's the right season, but I think it's the wrong team. I think it's the right season. I think it's the right division. I think it's the wrong team. I think the Texans right now, their goal needs to be, screw the division. Don't even worry about the division. We've seen teams not win the division and get to the AFC Championship game, which is something the Texans have never done. They've only gotten into the playoffs when they've won their division. That's the only way they've gotten into the playoffs. That same season, the Colts started 1-5, and they won 9 of their last 10 games. And despite the fact the Texans were winning the division, it was very clear nobody wanted to fucking see the Colts in the playoffs. Nobody wanted to see them. And they beat the Texans' ass in the playoffs, and then they went to the next round, and they eventually hit a wall, but it felt like they were really building something. And if Andrew Luck hadn't abruptly retired, who knows where that thing goes? But that was where the ceiling kind of got, where even heading into that 2019 season after that, I was like, well, this is a dark horse Super Bowl team, and they got hot at the right time. I think that's what the Texans should be striving for. You want to be what the 2018 Colts were, not the 2018 Texans. Because the 2018 Texans, even when they were winning 11 games, you looked at them and you were like, I mean, O'Brien would get mad at me for saying it, but like, it's like, this team isn't really going to do much in the playoffs. Like, you can kind of tell. I'm not saying the Colts look like that right now. They look pretty good. But I'm saying that's what the Texans need to strive for is that type of team that no one wants to see in the playoffs.
Well, and it for anybody that wants to throw the butt at the past 2 games, there's still a lot to prove for this Texans team, because if you come out of the bye week, you show up in Seattle, you're flat, and the Seahawks put it on you, you're not going to feel real good about where the season is headed and the potential of the season with 3 pretty tough opponents coming to NRG Stadium for a 3-game homestand. So, again, this is not to the same level as the Tennessee one, but how they build on this is really going to determine how much this game matters. Because if this, like, Tennessee seemed to matter a lot more when you saw the offense start from the jump with the best drive they had all season long to start the game. Like, Tennessee mattered a little bit more. It's like, okay, they started to figure some things out. Can they carry it over? Yeah, they did. They carried it over not only for just the first drive, but really the entirety of that game against the Ravens. Okay, well, they beat 2 really bad teams. Can they do it against a little bit better team? Like, that's the next question you have to answer if you're the Texans. And after that 0-3 start, it is really just about answering a series of questions about how confident you can be in where this team is going. Can I tell you for sure they're going to get on a roll? The offense is no questions asked. It's fixed. No, but it certainly looks like it's headed in the right direction after 3 weeks of just putrid suctitude from that offense.
Yes, I would agree. And I do respect the pushback. And I'm sure we'll get into that as we go glass half full, glass half empty. Speaking of which, you're going to have to drink something today. Do you have the ingredients with you? This is something, 2 ounces of each. All right. So we got milk.
Apple cider vinegar.
We got apple cider vinegar. Wait. Let me see that. Is that official?
How could it be anything less than, it literally says apple cider vinegar.
Okay, good. We got apple cider vinegar.
It's unopened too, because I knew you'd say something if I had like an opened one.
Okay, milk, apple cider vinegar.
And probably the worst part about it,
cucumber Gatorade. Okay, so
the lime cucumber Gatorade.
Cody, before the Ravens.
Pepino limon Gatorade.
Stoots, before the Ravens got depleted, he said he would. I put together 3 mixtures. By the way, I think we need to start making bets each week on, and I'm going to call them try bets, TRI bets. 3 reasonable ingredients. So you can't like have someone drink pee or something like that, but 3 reasonable ingredients bets.
I'd like to find some other things. I'm tired of drinking nasty shit. I'd like to find some other things to do.
So we will get the 2 ounces of milk, 2 ounces of apple cider vinegar, and 2 ounces of cucumber Gatorade.
Yeah. So I think the next one is Hot Chip Landry, the Hot Chip Challenge.
All right, let's go to the super chat here on Reaction Monday. Shout out to everyone for joining us. We very much appreciate you.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
All right, Wag says, morning all. Everything is better after a good win. This is a fact.
Certainly.
It is all better for everybody when that happens. Team Player says, Jalen Petrie is a top 3 asset on defense. Cannot change my mind. I would disagree with that. But he did have a good game yesterday.
I think there's very clearly 3 guys without debate that are better than him, and Derek Stingley, Danielle Hunter, and Will Anderson.
4. Lassiter.
Yeah, Kamari had a little bit of a slow start to the season, but I would certainly put Lassiter ahead of Jalen Petrie. I'd put Azeez Al-Shire ahead of Jalen Petrie as well.
He had a good game, though. JB Allen, the Annihilator, says Jalen Noel hitting the Ray dance after the TD and rage baiting Jair Alexander was just the chef's kiss. Let's kind of talk about that. What were your thoughts on the celebration by Jalen Noel?
That's incredible. Just to be a rookie on, to be a lightly utilized rookie on offense, get your first touchdown in what very clearly to me felt like Nick Caley said, let's get Jalen Noel a touchdown with the play call. It very much felt like that was a play call specifically called and designed to see if Jalen Noel get in the end zone. And then to hit that in the midst of just dumpstering the Ravens, that's incredible. And it shows to me like a little bit more edge than I thought Jalen Noel had.
That's my thought, because I always talk about the like the nasty ass teams that I think the Texans, like what their playoff formula is. And I always use the Jets as an example where they just disrespected everybody. Like Bart Scott can't stop a nosebleed. Like they were just talk crap. They were just nasty. They were just filthy. They wanted to like just twist the dagger whenever they were kicking your ass. I remember when the Patriots beat the Chargers and they were doing Sean Merriman's dance at midfield. Like that's just kind of like the attitude that I think you need to have. And I will say this, I thought it was an alpha move. I thought he kind of stood by it, but he might have gotten a little bit out alphaed after the game. I don't know if you saw this.
Hey, bro, Alpha Aaron here.
Aaron Wilson kind of hit him with a flex after the game when he caught up with him and asked him about it. Did you see this?
I didn't see this. Let's see it. I'll see it with the people all together.
This is Alpha Aaron talking to a guy after his first career touchdown, and then Aaron makes it about himself. This is Alpha Aaron just flexing on Jalen Noel. Look at that smile.
Jalen Noel in a raucous, celebratory locker room. Your first touchdown, what did it feel like?
It felt great. Just an honor and a blessing to be able to get my first one in the NFL. Not many people get that opportunity, so it was a blessing for sure.
What do you know about the squirrel dance, the Ray Lewis dance?
I actually watched it last night. Coach Miko was saying we need something if we get in the end zone, so I watched that last night and I was able to do it today.
You know, he used to use the Nelly songs when he would do that.
I did not know that.
Hot in here, that was his thing.
I did not know that.
I was up here for 15 years, as I know.
Okay.
So,
making it about him, man. What is?
Hey, bro, Alpha Aaron.
Aaron makes it about himself. The alpha moves just don't stop with Aaron.
That's great. Also, I'm surprised that Jair Alexander didn't just disgust you in that moment, because that's a peak guy that I would think Landry Locker would just hate on in the moment. He hadn't played basically at all this year for the Ravens. He'd been hurt, but like not on the injury report and just been like scratched or not played very much at all. He just got there. It's not like he's a longtime Raven. Like if Kyle Hamilton was pissed about that, like one thing, and then he acted like he like won the situation when he was asked about it after the game. Like I'm surprised this guy just
it was a bad like display. He's like, that wasn't I mean, he didn't really bring it like that for sure.
Yeah.
Back on the soup here on Reaction Monday. Victory.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Wag says this is a game we should have despite the Ravens injuries. It's good to see all phases. Just need to stack and grow on this. The confidence is key. Yeah, and right off the top, you go to Seattle.
Yeah.
It'd be tough.
Seattle's, and I know they lost, but they put up a bunch of points. Sam Darnold's playing good football right now and be a challenge for the defense. So they got some players on defense that could really jam some things up for you on offense.
Andrew Salas says all the motions, spreading the ball, getting the rookie wide receivers involved. The offense looked like the polar opposite. It was glorious to watch. Was a D'Amico effect on now? I don't know if it's the D'Amico effect or not. I really, maybe it's the opponent. Maybe it's Nick Caley evolving. Maybe it's CJ Stroud getting comfortable. I will say the most encouraging thing for me, like on this offensive line, and I put it in the Houston football grades, the most encouraging thing for me is, and I agreed with Caley even before this game, I do think this offensive line does show a little bit of toughness, and Cole Popovich benches you if you suck. Like I can't emphasize that enough. That sounds really simple, but I don't know if Chris Strausser ever benches Laken Tomlinson. Like we saw Shaq Mason be able to flop around last year, barely being able to walk and, looking tired and fat. And even when they kind of showed a little bit of life afterwards, he got his job right back. So there does seem to be some sort of accountability. I don't want to sit here and say, I don't want to cancel out like the healthy acknowledgement of who the opponents have been the last 2 weeks. But the offensive line does look a lot different with Juice Scruggs than it does Laken Tomlinson. I don't want to.
It's better. It's just a better offensive line. Scruggs is a better football player than Laken Tomlinson at this point, and I understand to an extent why they like how Scruggs did not earn the opportunity. I mean, obviously they wanted Laken Tomlinson to have the crack at it, being the veteran. They invested some money in him. Juice took some time to get going. It didn't look great from Juice in training camp. Like it's not like we were sitting here at week 1 pounding the table like Juice should have been in there, but it's good on them for when it's not working out with Laken Tomlinson, trying something else, and when it works, sticking with it.
We thought he might get cut. Like that was what the thought was. So
and honestly, I still think he might have got cut if that Cam Robinson injury never happens and they don't require, as much shuffle as they did.
Matt Marr says undefeated the rest of the season. That would probably get you a bye.
I mean, 14-3 would be one of the greatest achievements that a team has ever put together in the history of football.
It'd be 14 straight wins. I'm not a math major, but I would say 14 straight wins.
It's pretty good.
Unofficially. I'll have to check my work. Wax says, I agree. We want teams to be afraid to play us. Yeah, the nastiness.
I think there's definitely some fear of this defense. I know that the Ravens didn't have enough pieces on their offense to really make a difference yesterday, but if you see the Texans defense popping up on the schedule, you're just like, oh boy, this is going to be a long week.
Matt Marr says 9 ounces for that. So he's giving you make it 9 ounces instead of the 6 and 10 green olives for Landry. I do not have green olives, but my stomach hurts just thinking about that.
Mm-hmm. We'll get the olives in there at some point.
Gavin King says, Cody, I asked about an offensive explosion and how it changes the way we look at this team. Was this a big enough explosion? If so, where are we at with the overall team? So how you feeling?
I mean, look, showing that they can get things going on offense regardless of the opponent is really important for this team because they looked lost at times in the first 3 weeks. And again, comparing it to the first 3 weeks and these past 2 weeks, yes, the opponents are tougher, but I don't believe if the first 3 weeks Texans had played these two opponents, we would have seen the same thing. And CJ Stroud I don't think it's not even hinted at it. Like CJ Stroud has said it in the past couple of weeks about figuring out what works best for the players and what works best for Nick Caley and melding that and meshing that and putting it together. We've seen more Ram stuff in the past couple of weeks that we didn't see in the first few weeks. And yes, some of the stuff that they constantly pointed to and said about, hey, we hurt ourselves. We put ourselves behind the chains. We can't access parts of the playbook because of how we played. Yeah, some of those things got fixed and it opened some things up. Like it is super important to show that there's at least, even against poor defenses, the ability to go out there and score points, the ability to go out there and consistently put together drives on offense when they didn't show that through those first 3 weeks. So yeah, I feel a little bit better about this offense as they built off the Tennessee game.
I just got a text from the feds, aka my wife. I guess there are green olives in the fridge. I'm not.
Well, look, I made the declaration for this one, so I'll drink the nasty, and then we'll just kind of keep the green olives in reserve for the next time.
Yeah, we will. So Gavin, shout out to you. AJ says O-line been stepping up week to week, but CJ needs to throw the ball away at times when he's rolling out. Can't be going from second, 6th, 3rd, 15th. I actually thought the one play that you're probably referring to, AJ, he did a really good job of making the first guy miss. He probably just needed to sprint more outside and throw the ball away. I just think at that point, it wasn't as costly, but I do agree with you. Like if you're in a close game and that sack is taken, especially after the initial effort, then it would be much more costly. But I know exactly the one. It was where he kind of just perfectly made the first guy miss and then rolled out and got tripped up. So I do agree. I'm sure there's still some stuff to work on, but I do like the way he made the first guy miss on the play I'm sure that you're referring to.
Yeah, there was it was the one with Van Noy where he went unblocked. That I don't think he had anything he could do about that one. The one you're talking about is the I think the second sack where he did make the guy miss. And I think even if he gets rid of it right away, he might have been in grounding territory. They seem to be pretty strict on grounding this year. Though they're getting some replay assist up top, so it's not as constant. But yeah, I mean, it just feels like that's part of doing business with CJ Stroud is sometimes you're going to have losses of greater than 5 yards because he tries to extend a play a little bit.
Oh, Wax says, what impressed me was they shut down Henry. We typically don't do that. He usually eats like the rest of the team. Yeah, D'Amico's actually done a decent job on Henry. He's done a decent job on him.
I mean, everything
key on him too.
Everything that they said about what they wanted to do, and you can't let him get going. And he's a train, so when he is a train, you got to stand on the tracks. Well, the train never really got going out of the station. I mean, they were constantly hitting Derrick Henry at the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, they knew exactly what to do with him, and it's a little bit easier when you don't have to worry about the mobility of the quarterback and the arm of the quarterback. And Cooper Rush is back there. Derrick Henry's going to have a long day with this front seven.
Steven Stanton says 17 straight wins in a parade downtown.
I mean, I'll sign up for that right now. That'd be great, right?
Not alone 5 times. Shout out to you, my friend, the man, the myth, the legend.
All right, hold on. They win 17 straight. I'll chug a bottle of apple cider vinegar at the parade.
Yeah. Wiggles Ming says, what about if they just get to the AFC Championship game?
No, we're not making it. We're not. I'm not. No.
I can't think of. I like the green olives is just making me like I'm just cringing even thinking about that right now. Wiggles Ming says, can I get analysis on the state of Christian Harris stock? So it was penny stock before the season. Can't even sell it right now. It's like
it might get delisted from the stock market.
It's like a third of the penny right now. He's trying to avoid bankruptcy. Apparently that guy at the end of 2023, for whatever reason, they don't think he exists, or they don't think he fits into stuff. So we'll keep an eye on that. He was a healthy scratch, which I find a little bit interesting.
I mean, is it between the ears? Is he physically not the same guy after his injury last year? Like, there's lots of questions, and unless there's an injury at the linebacker spot, I don't know if we're going to get any answers.
Yeah, we might not. I mean, and yeah, that's just kind of.
Does he? I think too. Here's another thing that it's a bonus for EJ Speed. It's the reason Jake Hansen's on the team. All the time missed with Christian Harris. When they're catching him up, they got to catch him up on defense. It's not like he can ever help him on special teams. He hasn't played special teams for him, so that works against him as well. And I wonder if the time missed has hurt him from being able to contribute.
He might
on game day.
I heard Alexander talking about it yesterday, Jonathan Alexander of the Chronicle, and he said he thinks he's slower. Which, I mean, that would be a problem because the biggest appeal of Christian Harris
was athleticism.
That was it. Like, he was a freak. He wasn't even a linebacker in high school. Like, the first time he played linebacker was for Saban. Like, he was a H-back, running back, DB. So once you take away his athleticism, you're taking away everything. It literally said ATH by his recruiting profile. You know how some guys get the ATH? That's what he got. So if you take away an athlete's athleticism, then maybe that's where you go.
Yeah.
So maybe that kind of explains it. Let's talk about the Dogs, aka the Kings of the Turf.
I'm a dog, I'm a dog, I'm a dog, I'm a dog.
All right. Shout out to Texans Turf, Dan and his team. They do their thing. Much love to Dan and everything that he does. They did my yard. They can do your yard. They can do any yard. Go to TexansTurf.com. They got you covered. Talk to Dan today. He's on a job, and he always is on a job, and he's going to customize it. He's going to handle the drainage. It's safe. It's pet friendly. It's kid friendly. It's house friendly. Best thing that I did. Shout out to Dan and his team. Texans Turf. If you're thinking about getting in the turf game, go with that.
Always green, always clean. Who are the Kings of the Turf? Let's go with Xavier Hutchinson. Not just one, but as he's showing you there in the picture, 2 touchdowns. And it created some very funny pun opportunities where X going to give you.
Yeah, you missed.
2, yeah.
You missed it. You
Yeah.
you said X going to give you 2. It should have just been.
Yeah, TWO, X going to give it 2, TWO, yeah. Yeah, I know. Multiple people pointed it out to me. So, bad job by me. Great job by Xavier Hutchinson being a king of the turf. Jalen Petrie, king of the turf again in this one. Obviously had the fantastic interception where he read Cooper Rush like a book, dove in there in front of Derrick Henry, picked that thing off, and really just at that point, I think the Ravens all looked around and were like, there's no shot today. They might have already known that, but coming out of halftime to have that play, great job. Then he's in the right spot as Mark Andrews can't quite corral that one. But in addition to those 2 interceptions, Jalen Petrie targeted 4 times in this game, allowed just 17 receiving yards and a 60.4 passer rating when targeted in this one. And the kingliest king of the turf, I mean, CJ Stroud was fantastic back there. He had 4 incomplete passes, and I think there were 2 drops. One, he had to kind of basically throw in the dirt at the foot of Woody Marks because nobody was open. And then the other one was a well-defended play by the Ravens. And I think outside of that, he completed every other pass that he threw. He was confident. He had the 30-yard rush out of the where it looked like, hey, okay, there's a first down. Oh, there's a lot more. So CJ Stroud was fantastic. Those are your 3 kings of the turf for the Houston Texans in this one.
TexansTurf.com. If you want to peep the scene, shout out to Xavier Hutchinson. He was a star in camp. I will say some touchdowns are more impressive than others. That second one, that back shoulder communication right there, it didn't get much prettier than that. That was solid.
That's one of those. Let's see how unstoppable we are today kind of throws. And then they were pretty unstoppable.
They were being, and that's the other thing. They were being assholes this game. Like they were, I mean,
they should be.
No,
they
I
should
know,
be.
I know, but it was very aggressive. Like they went for it on their own 39-yard line with British Brooks. They started off the 4th quarter with the long bomb. They got greedy and they needed it. And I thought it was very nicely done. I'm not going to lie. When I heard the pregame show, and typically Nick Caserio just gives the same answers to John Harris, like it's usually just the same generic ass keys to the game. But when he said we got to control the time of possession, I was like, oh God, like, is that the goal? Like I don't think you should approach it with, we're going to try. They did. But sometimes like when you'd see like O'Brien say that, it would be like, all right, we're going to run twice and try to milk it. But like, they're just overly aggressive and the time of possession kind of came to them, if that makes sense. Like they didn't, the approach did not look like the approach looked like they were trying to score 100 points and they were going to adjust accordingly and do what they needed to do. And I actually thought that, and we'll get into this when we go through the big moments. I thought like one of the most encouraging things of all the big plays that we saw yesterday, there was a drive at the end of the game where Woody Marks had a nice, strong 11-yard run. And then Nick Chubb after that had just like a nice solid, like I think 7-8 or something like that. And they just kind of showed that they kind of had the ability to kind of ground and pound and then hit you over the top. So I thought that was encouraging when it came to what we saw yesterday and just the overall mindset and the display that they put on.
Yeah, I mean, they did a really good job mixing it up. And it wasn't quite revenge for Christmas because it wasn't the same Ravens team, but they wanted the guys who were there for Christmas to say, hey, yeah, we're going to get you back a little bit. We're going to poke and needle you a little bit more while we can and take advantage of it. And they certainly did that.
Well, you asked the question, like, do you think the Texans broke the Ravens? I'll say this. I don't keep like a close pulse of what's going on in Baltimore. And I think if we were covering the Ravens right now, I would acknowledge that the equivalent of CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, Azeez Al-Shire, Derek Stingley, and more were out. So I would like at least acknowledge that. It seems like they're pretty pissed off to the point where it's like, has the coaching staff lost the team? Should they fire John Harbaugh? Is it time to fire the defensive coordinator? Is it time to make a change? So when you ask the question, did they break the Ravens? Maybe I'm a little bit more sympathetic than people who follow that team more closely and care and are more invested in it. But it does feel like a lot of the narrative and are the talking points, I should say, in the national media and the local media that is in my For You section now more than it usually is. It does feel like they kind of feel like the Ravens are broken.
Oh, they went after Harbaugh in the postgame press conference. Hey, you said you thought you practiced well this week. Why wasn't that reflected on the field? Do you think there was a lack of effort and buy-in? Does Zach Orr, which is their defensive coordinator, does Zach Orr keep his job after this? Like, they went after Harbaugh, and it's just so it's just so nice to be on the other side, because the Texans are not the reason the Ravens fans feel this way or the reason the Ravens are downtrodden or anything like that. But it's nice to kind of stop in, light the match, or throw more fuel to the fire and then leave, because other teams have done that to the Texans for like 2 decades, where they've been in the middle of a tailspin and some team will just show up, kick their ass, and move on down the road, and you just kind of add fuel to the, well, here we go. Why can't they fix this? How does this happen? Like, that just happens. So it's nice to be on the other end of it, where you stop at the disaster, have your input, and then you get to keep moving on.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, though, in Baltimore, they better be – I mean, I get that they're a little disappointed in some of the postseason failures and things. I'd be very careful about fire John Harbaugh chance over there.
Yeah, I'm
real careful about that.
I don't necessarily understand it, but I do see that it is a thing. And the other thing about it, though, that I think needs to be acknowledged, to kind of go back to the other side of thinking, is they weren't playing worth a shit before they got depleted. So
correct.
There is also that. Like, it's not like this was some sort of world beater. Like, they were one of the worst defenses in the league and one of the worst offensive lines in the league, like, even before they got depleted. So I do think that needs to be acknowledged. I do wonder if this team can really bounce back, though. You brought up the theory of, like, push them a little bit so that you don't have to deal with them a little bit later on. I know it's only a 1-game difference, but it does feel like, because a lot of these injuries are long-term, it does feel like it's going to be a hell of an uphill battle for the Ravens to get back in the mix.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I went on our buddy Bobby Baltimore's show Friday, and I was like, this could easily be a team that, if the Texans beat them, you still have to deal with them come playoff time. And he was like, I don't know about that. And then all the Ravens fans were like, they're not going to the playoffs. This team sucks. Da, da, da. I was like, oh, geez, okay. I didn't realize they were so down over there in Baltimore. And then, I get it. I get it to an extent of, like, this season is close to being one of those, like, lost seasons for the Ravens, where they probably take a long look at how everything goes and sort of reset the deck.
Here's my pushback on, like, the fire John Harbaugh thing. Because I think a lot of times whenever you fire a coach that's been there for a while, there's kind of a feel, even Kubiak to a certain point. And I think we've kind of seen this with some coaches, like, they're not able to evolve. Like, when the Titans, after they got rid of Jeff Fisher, finally, it was like, well, he's not really evolving, and you're kind of stuck. You're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Same thing with O'Brien, really, to a certain point. Like, it's too hard-headed. I feel like John Harbaugh has been, like, the most willing to evolve coach in recent NFL history, whether it's adjusting to analytics, whether it's adjusting to who his quarterback is, who's calling the defense. Like, it just feels like if you get in a tough spot with John Harbaugh, it feels like he has displayed, like, a willingness to evolve, to where I would probably give him some leniency because of that. Like Belichick wasn't evolving in New England. Like, when Brady left, there was nothing changing. Like, he was doing the same thing. So eventually you got to say goodbye. But, like, I think John Harbaugh has at least, like, shown that willingness. So that's why I would be hesitant, no matter how bad things are.
Hey, if they want to fire John Harbaugh, let me know where to send the champagne for them celebrating the next coach, because it's not going to be as good as John Harbaugh. So.
Let's go to the chat. And I think Jacob has an interesting theory. He has a comment, and then I want to add to another comment that he said as well on the soup. Shout out to Jacob.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm said, I wanted Caley fired last week, and now I'll go to war for him. I just during the show quoted DFW legend John Jock Taylor. You're laughing, but it is a good quote. Sports are fluid. What's true today is not true tomorrow and yesterday. It's always a quote I've held on to that I do quote. I do use that quote because I think it describes the NFL more than any other sports league.
I'm laughing at the first sentence. I know. No, John Jock Taylor's dropped more knowledge on me through you than he even realizes. But yeah, no, it's amazing how you could transform your perception in the NFL in a short amount of time.
Nick.
And that first drive of the game, what more could you have asked for? They did just about everything on that first drive, from spreading the ball out to Nico Collins inbreakers to a British Brooks fullback handoff, which, by the way,
told you
he almost broke for a touchdown.
But I told you. Did I
not?
not?
Yeah.
Because I'm watching.
When's your custom jersey come in?
I'm watching practice. You see these eyes? They're watching practice. I saw what he was doing.
Yeah.
Why I even asked Caley about British Brooks, because
he's probably pissed you asked about it too. He's like, damn it, Landry's putting our secrets out there.
Well, he's the one who brought up that he could carry the rock. I was just talking about fullback. He brought up that he could carry the rock, and you saw kind of him doing his thing. And I think there's extra elements on short yardage. Let's get into the moments of the game, because you start on that first drive. That's where we'll start. I don't think you could have asked for a more perfect start of the game. You had Nico Collins. He's kind of the tone setter of this team, like the emotional tone setter. And that 25-yard play kind of lets you breathe a sigh of relief. And then you had, as you mentioned, the 3rd and 1 to Brooks, followed by the Schultz. And then the Xavier Hutchinson touchdown. Some touchdowns just feel a little bit different. And for some reason, I don't think people were completely full of peace of mind there after that. But the fact that Hutchinson found the end zone just felt like it almost felt different than like anyone else could have scored. I don't know why. I've never seen it happen, but it felt like these Iowa State guys are kind of mean. Like if you talk to like on the field, they're kind of mean. Like you have Noel doing the dance, and him and Hutchinson were teammates. You have Noel doing the dance. You have Hutchinson like holding up 2 fingers after he scores, like kind of like these guys got kind of a little bit of an edge to him, which I think you kind of need whenever you're on the road in a hostile environment like Baltimore.
I definitely felt like after it was Xavier Hutchinson that scored on that play, I definitely felt like I was like, oh, okay, it could be one of those days where everybody's getting a turn on the Ravens. Like it definitely felt like that, because that play was after a Woody Marks run that went for negative yards, which was one of their only few negative plays of the day. That went for and that run went nowhere. I was like, okay, God, that was a terrible call. What's going on here? And then they dial up that Hutchinson touchdown. It's like, okay, maybe everybody's gonna get a turn today. And then certainly it just went, built on it from there.
And this was my like key moment of the game. Like I'm big on like symbols and hints. And I go back to the Rams game when Sean McVay just decided he wasn't even going to try to get a first down. He just punted to the Texans offense. And then against the Jags, when Liam Cohen attacked Traymon Smith right when he came on the field, even though it got incomplete. I think the most telling moment for me, and I think this is where I kind of realized, okay, the Texans are going to win this game, was Baltimore starts out on their first drive. They're moving the ball perfectly, and they don't get a first down until the end of the first half. But on 4th and short, 4th and a long 2 or 3, they decide to kick a field goal. They're not doing that with Lamar Jackson. They're going there every time. Well, and they changed the entire manner in which they played.
Not only that, and maybe you're still in the Lamar section of the playbook, or it could mean something else. They threw a screen. They threw a screen that had no chance of getting a first down on 3rd down with 3rd and 4 while they were moving the football. And then, as you mentioned, 4th and short, and it wasn't even a question. They were running that kicker out there. Like They didn't even think about it.
Yep. And it wasn't even a decision. Then the Texans' second drive, I thought this was one of those kind of, I don't want to call it depleting, but it was. I mean, the Texans had scored touchdowns on 4 of their last 5 drives, I think. And this one, it almost felt like it was kind of a Ravens win to settle for the field goal. You had the third down sack, which we become so used to around here. So I thought that was potentially a big moment for Baltimore, but as I said, their offense just fell asleep, and there was really nothing else from them. They go 3 and out immediately after that.
If it was going to be a bigger moment, they would have had to do something on offense, but then to come out there and to not really get anything from an offensive standpoint, and then you give it right back to the Texans. I mean, it felt like Baltimore had no ability to build something in this game. And the sack from Van Noy, it just felt like a miscommunication. Like it didn't, and then it was like, no, that's not great, obviously, because like is free rusher, sack, miscommunication. That can't happen against a better team, but they still got points off of it. And then they looked much better when the next time they were out on the field from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah, they forced the 3 and out, and then I thought this was a good coaching decision by the Texans. They made him repunt, and I think it improved field position significantly. It was actually a boomer. I know some people would just say just accept the yardage, but they made him repunt.
61-35.
Yeah, so I mean that's a 26-yard. That's basically 2 personal fouls. Like you talk about how costly personal fouls are, like their decision to make them repunt, basically it's the equivalent of 2 15-yard penalties being added to the previous play. So I thought that was really good coaching by D'Amico and Frank Ross. Then
the Frank was immediately saying punt again too. Like when they cut to the sideline, he was like,
he's all over it, man. Like he's like looking at the yardage and saying there's like, I bet there's like an underrated aspect of his game management. I know he basically babysat Coley.
Do you see him? I don't remember. I think it was a Higgins play on the sideline.
Yes, he went up there and he was already like showing how long the yard was, and it was only a 2nd down play. Yes.
Yeah. Like he is. I'd love to, like, I know they put the GPS trackers on the players. I need one of those on Frank Ross on game day.
It was a second down. It was a 2nd down to the Texans sideline. He runs over to get the view, and he's all of a sudden looking at Caley and D'Amico going like that.
Yeah,
I did see that.
Yeah.
So then I thought we talked about CJ Stroud using his legs. He had the 29-yard touchdown or 29-yard run, and then I know it didn't count, but a Harrison Bryant pulse. I think you got the touchdown call back, and then they just go to Nico right there. So Harrison Bryant, he showed a little bit of a pulse, just a little bit of a pulse.
Harrison Bryant means nothing to me. What's important here is, first of all, it's still officially an offensive pass interference on Dalton Schultz when he did not have the offensive pass interference. It was Jaden Higgins. It's like that's I thought that was funny. But to just overcome that and score a touchdown and not have it be like, oh man, like the Ravens just left somebody open and we got it. No, they got 3 yards on the next play and made it third and a little bit more manageable. And then CJ Stroud just threw a freaking dart into the middle of the field on an in-breaker to Nico Collins. And to have that overcome a mistake when on that previous drive, a mistake had forced you to kick a field goal. I thought that was a really good sign in the grand scheme of things, and obviously a great sign for what the day was going to be.
Yeah, no doubt. And I got the little one in here trying to make me go color with her. She's staying home from school today. A lot of travel this week. So then we got another 3 and out. And then I titled this one. You know how I titled the drives? The title of the Texans' 4th drive was Assing Activated. Because this was
I've seen that movie. I've seen the sequels to it too.
This was just I bet you have. This was just the ultimate FU drive. And I thought it was a good job of, sometimes when you feel out the game, it's like they're not going fast enough. I thought they did a good job of having a grasp and letting it go down to the 2-minute warning. They handled that perfectly. And then the back shoulder fade to Xavier Hutchinson, it was just unbelievably that is textbook. Like a lot of times fades are like high risk, plays. Some people were very anti-goal line fade. That was as smooth as possible. If that could be executed that way, then it would be one of the more unstoppable plays in football. That was just perfect by Stroud. It was perfect by Hutchinson. Hutchinson holds up the 2 fingers. It's a 3-possession game, and at that point, the assing has been activated.
Well, and they went and found the player to attack because of the 2 corners that are on the field. It's like, okay, Jair Alexander, he's not what he used to be, but he's a veteran. He's seen a lot of football. TJ Tampa, their 4th-round pick from last year, he hadn't got on the field a bunch, has been pretty disappointing in Baltimore, and they went and attacked him with Xavier Hutchinson, who's feeling it in this game. And Hutchinson goes and makes a big body play for a taller wide receiver, and Tampa's a big body guy, but Hutchinson, basketballed and boxed him out, got the touchdown, good throw from CJ Stroud. And yeah, just at that point, you're pouring it on, and you're taking it in halftime thinking, okay, if you stop them coming out of halftime and put some more points on the board, it's really over at that point.
Yeah, and then in the second, at the end of the half, Baltimore gets their first down since their first drive, and I thought it was kind of a roller coaster for MJ Stewart, who's done a hell of a job. He had a massive hit on DeAndre Hopkins, which forced Baltimore to take their final timeout and put them kind of in an awkward situation where you really don't have enough time to get closer for the field goal. But then he picked up the penalty and gave them the opportunity. They missed the field goal. And going to halftime, you're feeling pretty good. But then I thought this was interesting. John Harbaugh comes out with a straight face to start the second half and says, if we score here, we got a chance to win the game. And I'm like, okay.
Sure.
And then Jalen Petrie with the best play of his career. I'd say that was probably the most impressive play of his career. And then just the ultimate
forcing the offensive lineman to fumble last year in Dallas is pretty good.
Yeah, but this one was just, I mean, this is like what we don't think he can do. Like this was
sure.
And I'm still worried about the coverage, despite, the 3 interceptions. I'm still a little bit concerned, but this was him doing what we didn't think he could do. Then you had a Kirk 2-piece combo, Nick Chubb touchdown, which most bursts that Nick Chubb has shown by far this season. I'm sure he had to ice up on the sidelines after that. And then really after that, it was basically that nothing really happened. You had the Petrie lick of Henry when he wasn't looking. The 56-yard completion that D'Amico was probably a little bit pissed off at, which, by the way, Will Anderson ruined a hell of an opportunity with Cooper Rush tripping over the center. And then you had the FU Ray celebration by Jalen Knoll and another Petrie interception. And those are the big moments, the end.
I mean, Stingley falling down it's not like Zay Flowers, it's not like he was step for step. Like he slipped. That's not happening a bunch. The Will Anderson one is that one's Tim Settle should still go get him a watch for that one. And Settle likes to get a new watch for every sack. He should still go get a watch because he timed it perfectly. Absolutely dominated one of the better centers in all of football to the point where it destroyed a whole play. Like he just fired off the football right into Linderbaum. Linderbaum braced for it, stepped on Cooper Rush, and Andrew, like he ought to send Will Anderson an invoice for a new watch.
By the way, there is like a national undertone going on right now. I can kind of see it in the chat too. And I know, and I'm seeing right through you people, and I do mean you people. I never thought Woody Marks would be like a workhorse back. I'm actually fine with moderately using him in beatdowns like this. I do think like once the big games start, you kind of free him a little bit. But I know a lot of you people probably picked him up in fantasy, and y'all are a little upset by the lack of production. I can see right through y'all.
Woody Marks absolutely tanked some fantasy teams this week.
Yes, he did, and I can
absolutely.
I know why you are upset. Even there's some Texans fans saying, "I want to see more." You must have picked him up. Let's go to The soup. You people aren't fooling me.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
D-Rec-Tube says, are the mad at Mixon just answers been short? What do you
Mad at Mixon. Just answers been short. It's like trying to figure out a puzzle here.
I don't know what you mean. Are people mad at Mixon? I don't think so.
There have been a lot of people upset with how they've handled the Mixon conversation, I think is the biggest thing.
And I understand that. But I guess some people might think too that they're mad because D'Amico's like, I hope he's doing well.
Did you happen to catch Joe Mixon posting on Instagram yesterday?
Did not. What'd he say?
Well, he just reposted the win graphic, and apparently Mixon hadn't been very active on social media, so posted the win graphic. And for maybe anybody who had the idea, had the idea that maybe Joe Mixon, screw this, I'm not coming back for this team. I'm not going to put my life on the line for this team. Maybe Joe's buying back in.
You think Joe might return after the bye to the building? He just needs to be in the building. Like, it's not even
just like his energy is probably a big positive for the team.
Yeah. People were saying people were like, is he coming back? He hadn't even been in the building. So, I mean, I don't know what y'all want him to, like, he's got to do something. I mean, that would be step one before you start talking about returns. Dietology says, remember Stoots, AFC showing means a mile run for you.
Oh yeah, I guess I did make that declaration at one point. They would go to the AFC Championship game. I'll go run a mile.
Can't even keep up with your BS, dude. Can't even keep up with your BS. People are calling Joe Mixon for being a front runner, by the way.
AFC Championship game one really at the front of my mind 3 games into this season.
They're basically Mike Jonesing Joe Mixon right now. Saying back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me.
I think Joe Mixon's situation's very different than it's, hey, I gotta rehab and risk my career, come back for a team that's going nowhere or a team that's got a chance. I think it's a little bit easier for the latter than the former.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he still gets paid by him, so I'm sure he wants him to win.
He's not guaranteed his contract.
Yeah, I get
because he's on the non-football injury list. So no, he does not get guaranteed his payment until he actually plays and comes back or they decide to pay him.
All right. So shout out to TDECU. It is Reaction Monday presented by TDECU. And every Monday we do TDECU where credit is due. I'm going to let Cody handle this. I'm going to go change a diaper real quick and make sure that the walls don't have crown marks all over them. So I'll let Cody handle the where credit is due presented by TDECU here on Reaction Monday.
All right, where credit is due, presented by our friends at TDECU. Of course, you can get that 15% off your Texans gear with the TDECU Texans debit card. Learn more at TDECU.org/Texans. Membership required, insured by the NCUA. TDECU, your credit union. Go with Mario Edwards Jr. in the where credit is due category. He'd been a milk carton guy for a couple of weeks. Played, but didn't show up in the box score, but he had that fantastic sack of Cooper Rush where Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter kind of got things going. Mario Edwards cleaned it up. The Texans did not hit Cooper Rush a ton, only a handful of quarterback hits, only 1 sack on the day, and it was Mario Edwards. So credit due to him for the sack on the day for the Houston Texans. Nick Chubb, you see him over there on the right side of the screen. I mean, after all the Woody Marks love last week, Nick Chubb was, I don't want to play with you anymore. He was, for lack of a better example, he was Woody in Toy Story, dropping Woody on the ground there, ready to play with Buzz. But hey, he had plenty of buzz in this one. Had the big touchdown run, had some other tough runs. He was jumping over guys. Like Nick Chubb was like leaping over defenders on the ground, had some good jump cuts, looked spry, looked youthful, looked like he was ready to face an old AFC North foe from his Cleveland days. And then right there in the middle, Dalton Schultz, where credit is due. And here's why Dalton Schultz gets where credit is due, even though there's some people upset with Dalton Schultz's lack of yards after catch. Dalton Schultz had 5 catches in this game. Dalton Schultz had 5 catches in this game for a total of 60 yards. Okay. He had a catch on 1st and 10 for 9 yards. The other 4 Dalton Schultz catches all went for first downs. So 4 first downs and a catch for 9 yards on first down for Dalton Schultz. It's not the most explosive. It's not going to get you a ton of fantasy points, but where credit is due, Dalton Schultz, 4 of his 5 receptions for first downs in this one. And just that nice safety valve on plays. Sit down where there's nobody, be available, be open. And he had one hell of a block on a nice run on the outside where he started on a defensive lineman, climbed to the next level. And how often do we praise Dalton Schultz's blocking? Not very often. So credit is due to Dalton Schultz for this one. So Mario Edwards Jr., Nick Chubb, and Dalton Schultz, where credit is due. Thanks to our friends at TDECU. You back? You ready?
I'm back.
Diaper changed. That's a world record diaper change right there.
Yes, it is. NASCAR style, baby. NASCAR style diaper change. We will get to the Stoots try payoff in a second we're going to put 2 ounces. Wait, did we increase the dosage?
No.
What?
No, I agreed. I agree. I got screwed in this. I should be able to kick one of these ingredients out because Lamar didn't play. But I'm not even advocating for that.
Yeah,
I'm doing the 2 ounces of each, and that's it.
Yeah, we're not doing that. By the way, you could have given British Brooks some credit. He did his thing. By the way, is British Brooks a better? I know we haven't seen him run traditional running back. Is there a chance he runs the ball better than Dameon Pierce?
Yes.
Okay, just asking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just asking. Chris on the soup says, I love that CJ is getting the swag back, but I actually love, all caps, the fact that we are seeing less of Daria on offense. Yeah, that should have never been a thing. We know that.
Daria Gumbawale with 3 offensive snaps yesterday.
By the way, Dalton Schultz, still a very polarizing figure in the S&L Houston football locker room, Cody Stoots community. I would take what Dalton Schultz has given you every single time at this point. But there's a little bit of frustration with him.
I'll take 5 for 60 with 4 first downs every week from him. The top end of Dalton Schultz doesn't exist anymore. He's like Dalton Schultz that had 130 receiving yards against Tampa 2 years ago. That guy's not walking through the door anymore. Okay, so just go be serviceable and don't screw up. That's what he's done for 2 weeks.
Yep. By the way, I don't know if y'all know this, but 2 Fridays from now, we're going to be at Spanky's in Sharpstown. Cody Stoots actually ate Spanky's this week, and there is a game changer at Spanky's. We're going to be there the 17th and the 31st. We need y'all to be there. Shout out to everyone who joins us at Spanky's. We love it. It's going to be Friday from 3 to whenever. I haven't had an unsatisfied person who's gone there, whether they're a returning customer or a first time. It's definitely going to be beyond the first time because the prices are the best. The pizza is incredible with the fresh made dough, fresh made sauces. The menu's insane. They just added the chicken Alfredo lasagna. The drink menu's insane. They got a large ass selection of draft beers. They just added the sangria for the summer, which I think Cody's going to be indulging in. So whatever you want.
Oh, the hurricane. Excuse me.
Yeah.
The Spanky's hurricane.
But yeah, join us at Spanky's. We want to see you there the 17th, 31st. We'll have some fun stuff planned. We'll broadcast live.
Half and half pizzas at Spanky's. I got half barbecue chicken, half meat lovers on the pizza that I got the other day.
Half barbecue chicken, half meat lovers. They didn't care. They'll do it. They'll spread the sauce like right down the middle. That's insane. Half and half.
And it was for a small one too. Yeah, typically some places only let you do it on larges or mediums, but right there on my small pizza, I had nice little meat lovers, had my barbecue chicken, had that homemade ranch. So it's fantastic. Got me some fried mushrooms. Primo. Good stuff to eat while watching the Texas Tech Red Raiders dominate the Houston Cougars.
Yeah, Tazewell says his wife's now hooked on Spanky's. You will be too. I'm not just saying that. We work with places that we want to go to. It's one of my favorite spots in town. I can't undersell it.
I got some menu exploring to do. I may be going and getting stuff that I don't typically get the next time I'm there.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. We appreciate y'all for representing and being out there with us. We hope to see you 2 Fridays from now. Let's get some context. Cody's context here on Reaction Monday.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
All right, so my context this week is on the offensive line. again, after I think I had some context last week on the O-line. So quarterback pressure percentage is something that they were awful at last year. Just really bad. One of the worst teams in football. It led to a lot of sacks, a lot of overall pressures, and we saw how that affected CJ Stroud. And I showed you the graph last week. It'd been getting better each and every week. And yeah, the opponent has something to do with that. But again, this week, under 30% total quarterback pressure, 28.6% after 28.1% last week in quarterback pressure. Last year, they had 0 back-to-back weeks under 30%. They have now put together back-to-back weeks under 30% quarterback pressure rate, which is fantastic. And in that first quarter, a 16.7% quarterback pressure rate by the offensive line of the Texans. Fantastic job by the O-line to take care of their business. Still had a couple of free runners. Ursary got caught there with a free runner late in the game. That wasn't good. Still have a couple of those, but that can get cleaned up, and they've shown the ability to progress and improve and fix some of their mistakes, which is something last year's offensive line just didn't do. Like, they would be bad and they'd be even worse the next week. For them to have been solid last week and to be solid again on the road, different environment, really good job by the offensive line. So for the first time since probably 2023, because I didn't even go back and look at that, but so the first time since 2023, back-to-back weeks with under 30% quarterback pressure allowed by the offensive line. So good job by the Big Uglies up there.
Yeah, they're doing good. I didn't push back on Nick Caley saying that that the offensive line had improved. I think they've definitely improved. So I would 100% agree with that.
And I mean, just if they clean up a free rusher here or there and handle some of the blitzes a little bit better, then I mean they're going to be well on their way. And again, the goal for the offensive line, the way I looked at it this year was not about how good can they be. It's about how far away from terrible can you get. And they're doing a good job of keeping themselves away from being awful and one of the worst offensive lines. They're trying to stay away from that as best they can. They've done a really good job the past couple of weeks.
Yep, they have. They have, and they're definitely better for sure. Let's go through the performances here on S&L. Cody will pay off his bet shortly. 2 ounces of ACV, 2 ounces of milk, 2 ounces of cucumber Gatorade. I look forward to this.
As I remind everybody last week before
what color is this going to be?
I don't even want to think about it. But
overtake it, isn't it?
What's that? The
milk's going to overtake it for sure, right?
Probably. I don't even regularly drink milk. If it takes me out, I just want everybody to remember. Reaction Monday is presented by TDECU. Okay, presented by TDECU, your credit union. Texans debit card. TDECU.org/Texans, 15% off the team store. Hats, jerseys, maybe a new car decal. Maybe you want to go get you a Jalen Petrie jersey because he's been playing well so far this season. 15% off. A membership required, insured by the NCUA, but TDECU will take care of you. Your credit union is not just a slogan. They mean it. They'll take care of you, all the various perks for that. All right, let's go through the performances here.
And you can check these out on Houston Football too. CJ Stroud's performance, I think it was Kurt hitting. It was perfect, Mr. Perfect. I think this was one of the best performances that we've seen from CJ Stroud in a while. It's not really, it's beyond the statistical production. I thought he used his legs well. I thought even when he was getting sacked, he did a good job of making the first guy miss. I thought the body language, since CJ Stroud seems to embrace the notion that his body language is bad, I thought the body language was good. And he's spreading the ball out to a lot of guys, and I think that's a good thing for this offense to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, it was fantastic from him. I mean, it's about as good as it gets. 85.2% on completion percentage. That's a obvious career high. 4 touchdowns is fantastic, and in control, calm under pressure. It didn't really have any of those like, oh my God, what is he doing? And yeah, the few incompletions he had, there were 2 drops, 1 good defensive play, and 1 where he just didn't have anywhere to go. So he kind of dirted it at Woody Marks' feet. So fantastic from him. And I mean, just about as good as it gets from CJ Stroud.
Running back performance, I would say they did what they needed to do. It wasn't like awesome statistically. I know Woody Marks, not some sort of explosion. I think the usage was fine for where the game was. I don't want to give the ball to Woody Marks 20 times when you don't have to. I would like there to be a mix of it. You sprinkle in a little British Brooks. He added a different element to two carries for 15 yards on short yardage. He moved the chains twice. I thought there was a really solid run by Marks, followed by a real solid run by Chubb at the end of the game that I was impressed with. And then the Nick Chubb touchdown, the most burst that he's shown this year. So they weren't awesome, but I feel like they were good enough and they did everything that they were called upon to do. Dameon Pierce, by the way, man, that's just kind of a weird situation there, but whatever.
No, they were solid to good is what I would say with the running backs and how they operated. And when they needed some yards, they got them. They turned to British Brooks a couple of times, which I like to see, and sparingly used Marks. And there was a couple of good pickups by the running backs. And I think there was one kind of hiccup where I think maybe Chubb chose wrong. And Chubb did have that one drop over the middle that would have been just a catch and run. So
wide receivers, I think that you got to give them an A. I think Nico Collins set the tone right off the top with his 25-plus yard reception. Whenever the touchdown got called back, you go to old Whoopi and you bail out. Nico Collins with his touchdown there. Christian Kirk got involved. You had the long bomb to him. And then you had Xavier Hutchinson with his first 2 career touchdowns. Again, this is the third time that I brought it up. That back shoulder fade with CJ Stroud was a thing of beauty. And then Jalen Noel with his first career touchdown, which made it the second guy in that game to score his first career touchdown and the third in 5 quarters. So you got to like the way that was spread out and the way that the offensive weapons for CJ Stroud looked.
The rare group project where everybody did exactly what they were supposed to do and everybody gets an A.
Yep. Yes, they do. Tight end performance. Perfect. I mean, not perfect, but based on what these guys are, I'll take this every week. I think what did they end up with? I don't have the math. I want to say it was like 88 yards. Was it 88 yards on 8 catches? Is that right?
Yeah. Brendan Bates had some garbage time.
I don't give a rat's ass.
Offense.
Hey, I'll take garbage time from a tight end. I didn't even know he had a pulse. So give me that. Yeah. 8 for 88 from the tight ends. I'll take every time. Yeah. And including some big third down plays from Schultz.
Well, and some good blocking too, out there on the edge and in the run game, some good blocking, which has not always been the case from this tight end group. So they get an A from me as well.
Offensive line performance. The OL performance. How are we feeling about the offensive line? I think this was a solid effort.
Yeah, I would say, again, kind of like the running backs, I'd say solid to good. They still had a couple of busts where there was a free rusher here or there. But solid to good. And there were some plays where CJ Stroud could have set up a lawn chair, kicked his feet back, turned on his radio, had a beverage, and then thrown the football. Like,
when the hell do you think CJ Stroud turns on a radio? He doesn't know what a radio is.
Turns on the music, whatever.
Yeah,
don't be too literal.
Well, I mean, don't be too old. We're getting old. You don't have to sound old too. You want him to pull up.
The offensive line did a good job giving him time to make plays.
You want him to pull up his Nokia and make a phone call too? Did he have that much time?
Yeah, no, I want him to turn it up. Okay.
Defensive line. I mean, you hold Derrick Henry to 33 yards. I think you get an automatic A. Still not a lot of sacks, but I'm not going to nitpick that. Tim Settle actually made some plays. One of them got negated by a penalty. I'll be honest with you. I know we might be getting ahead of ourselves, and you can pull it back to the actual game. But as I look at this D-line, I think it's obvious that you have probably the best edge duo in the league. I think it's obvious that Tommy Togiai should never be inactive when healthy. That was weird.
Well, they only have 4 defensive tackles now, so he's always active now.
Yes. And I think whether Foley Fatukasi is healthy or not, I don't know how he fits into this group, especially when you factor in that it looks like Danico Autry could be back after the bye. I don't know how Foley Fatukasi fits into this. Like, if Foley Fatukasi gets healthy, and I do wonder if it's maybe a stash, I don't know how he fits into what they currently have.
Yeah, I don't think
he turn this into a Foley Fatukasi conversation, but
yeah, I don't really think about him much. I don't think he matters. They have Tommy Togiai and Tim Settle's playing really well, and
Mario showed up.
And then Mario Edwards had the nice play, and I'm going to give the D line a B plus. I just feel like you got to hit Cooper Rush a few more times than they did.
Jeez, nitpick. Linebacker performance: Christian Harris, a healthy scratch. Azeez Al-Shire kind of got roughed up early on. Could have had an interception. It looked like perhaps Henry Toto didn't miss as many tackles. They obviously had a big role in stopping the run. Jalen Petrie, whether you want to consider him a linebacker, DB, when we grade, we consider him a DB, even though you could make a case if he's a linebacker. If you want to, I'll put it this way. If you want to consider Petrie a linebacker, we'll give the linebackers an A. If you want to consider him a DB, we'll give the DBs an A. But for the sake of this, we're going to go with the DBs. Linebackers, fine.
Yeah, I thought they had a really good game. Really good game and did exactly what they needed to do and got downhill and fired in there and popped Derrick Henry a bunch of times and made it messy so he couldn't get going. And it's a good job by the linebackers.
By the way, Cody Stoots will be playing Snake on his Nokia after this chug, this try chug that he's going to have. 3 reasonable ingredient chug. DB performance: Jalen Petrie, best game of his career, 2 interceptions. Stack those stats because it's not going to get easier as the games get tougher for old Jalen Petrie. I do still think there's a sniff out factor there with Petrie, but he's done a good job. If anyone's done a good job of taking advantage of the part of the schedule from Jacksonville to Tennessee to now, it's Jalen Petrie. Those numbers are going to look solid.
Hey,
so he was good.
When the bully gets kicked out of school, it's easier to go to school.
Yes, it is. Kamari Lassiter, interception finally. He's held up nicely. Derek Stingley had the one trip and fall. I'm not going to hold that against him. He's banged up. I think he's kind of set the tone playing hurt. And MJ Stewart, he's pretty good. Like he's better than CJ Gardner-Johnson. Kalen Bullock we haven't really seen like the extreme playmaking that we got used to. I think he's going to have more opportunities as well against good teams, but the DBs were fine. And I do, it's hard to say because it's bad teams, but it does just look like MJ Stewart is better than what CJ Gardner-Johnson currently is. And oh, by the way, what team is CJ Gardner-Johnson suiting up for?
He's not.
All right. That tells you all you need to know there. So
yeah,
that's where
I give him an A- on the DBs.
Then we go to the special teams. Tommy Townsend, 1 punt, 1 boom. he punted 1 time. He handled his business. Kaimi Fairbairn made all his field goals. There were no like big moments on special teams. So I mean, a strong pass in a pass fail class.
Yeah, Fairbairn did a good job on the kickoffs. They didn't have any sort of like amazing starting position, and so yeah, good job by the special teams.
And then the coaching, I thought the coaching was good. I mentioned the decision to make them repunt. I thought that was nice. The handling of the 2-minute drill at the end of the first half, I thought that was nice. The decision to incorporate British Brooks into the short yardage, I thought that was a nice little wrinkle. Even the Knoll touchdown play, that was a good job getting him in space after the penalty. I thought the aggressiveness to start the fourth quarter was good. The defense, once again, Matt Burke calling the defense, they only allowed 10 points. I thought it was a solid coaching effort all around, even beyond just the overall score.
Well, to have everybody dialed in for an opponent that's the jerseys impressive, the guys in the jerseys are less impressive, and to keep the foot on the gas, a really good job by the coaching staff.
Very good job by the coaching staff. I would strongly agree with that. I thought it was very well done. Back to the soup.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Moondog says, I'm certain the front office takes notes from S&L. They need to keep it up. I told you, we're way cheaper than Corn Ferry and we're way more effective. Like anything you want. Like I'm not going to sit here and act like I should be the first person you go to for like football advice. I do feel like I know this team better than anyone else, but there's nothing Corn Ferry knows about football more than me. They steal your money. They're thieves, so do not use Corn Ferry. Use S&L if you need to. I think they probably charge like $500,000. We'll take half that. We'll take a quarter of that if y'all ever want advice. But it's also free, just like it is to everyone else here on S&L, locker room, all that.
We could do what Corn Ferry does for $50K.
Yes, easily. And it would we wouldn't even bullshit you with a fake PowerPoint like they do. I can't imagine all the bullshit in their presentations. Can you imagine? Oh, well, look at this data, 75% of this, and blah, 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 da, 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 da. Like, God. Pathetic. Stick to something Corn Ferry. I'm sure they do some good services, but the coaching search, that was terrible. Cougar says, how refreshing is it that running the ball doesn't seem impossible this season? Crazy how an offense can look with the run game and pass protection. I would hold off on that. I want to see how they run the ball in the next 4 games. Seattle, gonna be tough. San Francisco, always somewhat tough. Denver, yikes, they look pretty good. And then you have after that the third home game, which Jacksonville, we'll see. And then you have Tennessee, which should be all right.
Yeah, Denver's been a pretty weird team this year so far.
They could easily be undefeated, though. Now you can look at it both ways, but they could easily be undefeated.
Sure. They could easily be a 5-0 team, and they could easily have the same record that you do.
Yeah,
I think the big thing about Denver is their quarterback is he's hit the same thing where defenses are a little bit more ready for him in year 2. CJ Stroud dealt with last year, but Knicks and the offense just grinded that thing out against Philadelphia, which is a great defense.
Yeah, he's just a gritty mofo, that Bo Nix guy. Coach's son, by the way, if you didn't know. I've heard that a few times. Rich Boy Jay. That is the Bo Nix drinking game, by the way. Every time Coach's son is mentioned, you can take a shot of your choice. And I want you to join me on the post-game show afterwards, the locker room post-game show. And I want you to tell me how shit-faced you are, because every time they mention that he's a coach's son, drink up. Rich Boy Jay says, going forward on 4th down, own territory, up 20+ was such a dog move. I love that we finally went foot on neck.
I'm a dog.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty bold.
I mean, they definitely wanted to put it on the Ravens as much as they could after what happened at Christmas. Like, I think some guys might have called off the posse a little bit earlier than D'Amico did.
Yeah, they were definitely rubbing it in a little bit, but hey, is what it is when it comes to that type of stuff. All right, before we get to the payoff from Cody Stoots and the 3 reasonable ingredient payoff for Cody Stoots, he said this before the Ravens got hurt. He said if the Texans win in Baltimore, he would chug 2 ounces of apple cider vinegar, 2 ounces of milk, and 2 ounces of cucumber Gatorade, which, believe it or not, I think the cucumber Gatorade is what disgusts him the most of these 3 substances, believe it or not.
Yeah, well, at least it didn't. I mean,
I have witnessed Cody Stoots puke cucumber Gatorade at the highest level. Now, in fairness, we were drunk and we were making a walk to a stadium. So we had just consumed a good amount of alcohol and we were going to a stadium. But he got a cucumber Gatorade thinking it was going to be some nice, like, fresh,
refreshing. Yeah.
Assumed. Sometimes, like, when you want a Gatorade, you just grab a color. The green looks refreshing. But then he chugged it like Cody Stoots has been known to do, just thinking he was about to get that refreshing, nice, like, post-drinking Gatorade feel on the way to the road. And he immediately puked a lot.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. You can't blindly trust Gatorade as much as you thought you could. You know who you can trust? TDECU. Reaction Monday presented by TDECU.
Yes, you can.
Your credit union.
Texans debit card.
Trust them with
.org/Texans.
Trust them with your money. You get all the fantastic perks like that Texans debit card that gets you 15% off the online team store. Jerseys, hats, t-shirts for your lady, all those various things. They can take care of you. A membership required, insured by the NCUA. All the perks at TDECU.
By the way, I apologize for him being sexist. You can get it for your man too. Like, we got some ladies here. I apologize for him being a slime ball. He says, "Your lady, ladies, you're welcome to partake in the promotions too." Sorry about Cody being sexist.
You can get ladies shirts. Like, how does that?
You said get a shirt for your lady. It could be your lady or your man. Why are you being sexist?
I thought I just said get lady shirts. Go to the tape.
You said a shirt for your lady. Who cares? Glass half full, glass half empty.
Apparently you do. I mean, is that what? Let's do the empty because it's got to be a little bit shorter than it's usually been. Right?
I mean, the glass half empty is very, very simple. Like you question the opponents. Both of these teams stink. The Ravens and Titans. This version of the Ravens and the Titans, arguably the worst teams in the league. Oh God, what a wild ass win the Titans got yesterday. My God, what a choke job by Arizona. But the glass half full is obviously you feel better. The glass half empty is you're about to start playing really, really good teams. You're going to have to start out with a wacky ass 9 p.m. Monday nighter against Seattle. But even then you can kind of half full and say you're going to have time to prepare for it. But that's really all there is to it is you could question the opponents. And I don't think all problems are solved. So I think the glass half full, the glass half empty is kind of natural to do here. By the way, looking forward to seeing Jackson Smith and Jigba, my guy, against Derek Stingley. By the way, Jackson Smith and Jigba from Rockwall, Texas.
I think there's going to be some Jackson Smith and Jigba versus Jalen Petrie, which will be much to the benefit of the Seattle Seahawks in that matchup.
There might be a Sam Darnold factor too with D'Amico. He might need to
looking for revenge.
Kind of put it on him last year.
There's I mean the biggest thing about the glass half full is they might have figured it out on offense.
Yep.
Like if they got to build on it, it's got to continue. We all understand who the opponents were, but they might have figured it out on offense.
Yep. All right. Speaking of glass half full, glass half empty. And by the way, join us at Spanky's the 17th and 31st. They got some good drinks. I don't know. This one definitely isn't on the menu. The tri-bet, 3 reasonable ingredients. I don't know if these are reasonable ingredients though, but we'll pretend that it is.
I hate this.
You did this to yourself. You didn't know.
You came up with the BS.
All right, so here we go. We have show the apple cider vinegar. Let's see the usual payoff bet. All right, let's pour 2 ounces of that in a cup, please.
I'm going to pour them in the order that I'd like to pour them in.
No, ACV first. Come on.
That's bull crap.
That's always the foundation. ACV first.
That's bull crap.
All right, let's see it. Hold it up.
Oh, it already smells terrible. You
hold it up. That's not 2 ounces,
buddy. I got it in a measuring cup.
Yeah.
What the?
I was trying to push it.
Yeah, you're pushing me to my breaking point. Is what you're going to do.
ACV, okay.
Yeah.
Now 2 ounces of milk.
Why do I have to put the milk in? Why can't I put the Gatorade in next?
This is the bet. We said
this is the order shouldn't matter.
No.
Milk. I should get to decide the order because Lamar didn't play.
2 ounces of milk. That's been out for a while too.
Stupid. It's still kind of cold. That's good stuff. I don't drink enough milk. No.
Okay. See the pour. Okay.
It doesn't look bad right now.
Okay. How's it smell?
That's not good. I don't know why. I don't know why I thought that would smell good. It doesn't.
And now 2 ounces of cucumber Gatorade. God.
Let me do a little.
Oh, you hate that.
Oh, it's every bit as bad as I remember. I'm gonna have to throw this measuring cup away. Oh, look, the milk particles are in the Gatorade because this is gross. I hate you. Oh boy. I should have grabbed something to give it a little mixy mix with.
What color is it?
Oh, it looks like puke.
Oh man. Damn.
It looks like puke.
Oh God.
I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna throw up. It's like Vince McMahon when draws is in his he's gotta puke.
He's gonna puke. All right. Ready?
Hold on. I have to wash this straw. I'm gonna give it I gotta give it a mix here. It spilled out on me. God, this is gross. If I don't make it to the presser, you know why now.
11:15, right? D'Amico, 11:15.
Yeah.
All right. Look forward to seeing you.
Oh boy. To health, wealth, and not yourself. Screw you, Lamar Jackson.
Oh God. Oh, why is that thing so All right. We'll sign out. We'll sign out. You don't have to talk, dude. Oh my.
The Gatorade is maybe the worst part.
All right.
It's still you don't taste the milk at all, but the milk's texture is the most.
Oh, it's making its way down. All right. We appreciate you for rolling through. Shout out to TDECU for sponsoring Reaction Monday. Join us on the Texans Collective today at 6 with me, Cody, Sean, and Reggie. Locker room recap 10:30. And always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, by the way, Spanky's the 17th and 31st. When it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. Oh.